Hi, it's your friend Tricia Morris here with the Under the Sea Page Kit Assembly Workshop. I've got a stunning collection here. I've been so excited about releasing this. As with all of our processes here, we're going to set aside the beautiful ribbons and goodies that came in our collection. We've got some fun embellishments. It was such a joy to select and hunt down the perfect embellishments for this kit. We've got these neat silver settings, a set of 4 really cool charms, got these epoxy stickers. I've got my papers here in my printed instructions. If you haven't printed those yet, you can do that or just follow along on a tablet. My pre-cut photo mats, my trimmer, you gotta have that 12-inch guillotine by Fiskars. We do carry that, and then my homemade accordion pocket file. If you have been following me for some time, you know that my previous one was getting a little tattered. So I used a sheet, it'd be 3 sheets of 12 by 12 paper from the Fairy Tale collection. This is the duplex lavender aqua color, and I think it's just really stunning, and it's really neat. Anyway, I'm gonna attach this to the bottom of my little trimmer here. We'll stay organized and file everything into those pockets. So let's test our filing skills. We'll start out with our photo mats. So I'm going to take 3 of the deep blue pre-cut mats, and those are going to go into pocket 1 and 2. We'll take 3 of the sea green color, and that goes in pocket 3 and 4. Let's see, then 3 of the aqua photo mats going into 5 and 6, and 3 of the white we're using in 7 and 8. That was nice and easy. Now, if you don't have the accordion pocket file, do not let that stop you from taking this class. Just keep 4 piles. Just work at your kitchen table or something and keep 4 piles. And when I say pocket, you do pile. Next, we need to put the paper in the appropriate order so that we avoid errors during the trimming and dry fitting process. So I want you to start out by finding the octopus print. He's pretty cool, right? I'm going to put that face down on my work surface and then find 1 sheet of the aqua metallic. This metallic paper is exceptional. If you're planning a wedding and you're going with that color, you know, grab this by the sheet to make your invitations or whatever. It's a stunning paper. Let's see, then we got some deep blue. This is a laid finish. It kind of has texture going this way and vertically in larger area. It's really cool. You're gonna love it. Then we're going to do a cut apart, believe it or not. So we have 2 cut aparts. Grab the one that has the big whale, put it face down on your trimmer base, and then the other cut apart that has all this art on it. Then we're going to take the whale print, put that face down. You're sensing a theme here with the face down situation. Let's take 2 of the sea green. So it's kind of a gold color, 2 sea green planes. They're the same color on both sides. Next, 1 of the aqua metallics along with the other whale print. Put the face down. Next, the remaining octopus print and this deep sea blue, and then 2 of the aqua that remain. So those are the last 2. Again, same on both sides, so it doesn't matter. Take the entire stack we just piled up here and flip it back to the top so that Mr. Octopus is right there. And let's get trimming. Okay. Page 1 of the instructions if you want to follow along. And I'm going to take that octopus print and place it in the trimmer right side up. So Mr. Octopus should be here in the lower left. I'll cut at 9.5 and 5.5. I know it pains some of you to cut into this beautiful paper, but it'll be okay, I promise. All right, so this larger piece goes in pocket 7 and 8. And if you're new to using the organizer, again, remember this is 12 inches wide and so is the organizer. So I place it in the pocket like this so I can still see the numbers on the left, and it's just trailing out to the right. Next, you have this 4 by 12, and I'm just gonna cut it in half at 6 inches. Let's make a couple of photo mats here, and we're going to pop those into pocket 3 and 4. If I'm going too fast, just use your YouTube playback settings to slow me down. Try 0.75 playback speed. And then this last piece goes in pocket 7 and 8. Now we're going to trim this aqua metallic. First cut's going to be at 11 3/4. So it's going to chop off a really skinny little strip. Next, we're going to go down to 10 1/4, and then 8, And finally, 4 1/4. Notice I'm letting the paper pile up to my right. I'm not moving it or sliding it or anything. Just leave it lay right where it lands. Rotate the piece that was in your trimmer base. This is the 4 1/4 by 12. We'll cut at 6. Gather up the two pieces that are the same and put those in pockets 7 and 8. It doesn't matter what order things go into the pocket as long as they land in the right pocket. Okay, next, take the next strip that was to the right of the blade. This is 3 3/4 by 12. We'll cut at 11 1/4, 7 1/2, 3 3/4. And for every cut, always make sure you're pushing hard on the stabilizing bar so the paper doesn't move when the blade comes down. Gather up the 3 squares and place them in pocket 3 and 4. I regret to inform you that this little piece wasn't used in our finished layout. Not bad for a scrap. Okay, the next strip, this is 2 1/4 by 12. Again, it was sitting on the top of the stack here. We're gonna cut at 11 1/4. 9, 6 3/4, 4 1/2, and 2 1/4. Just made a whole bunch of squares and a scrap. So here are all those squares. Place all of them in pocket 3 and 4, and the little scrap joins its friend over here. And then you have this larger strip also going in 3 and 4, and this really skinny guy 7 and 8. Next up for the deep blue, we're going to cut a bunch of strips here. Our first cut is at 11. Stabilize again. And then 10. And then 9. Those are easy cuts. All the way down to 7 1/2. And then 4 1/4. Now rotate the 4 1/4 by 12. And we're gonna cut at 11 3/4, so a tiny little piece. Then 9 3/4. 7, 3 3/4. That's a little more complicated than I usually like to be, but it's not so bad. It's gonna pay off, I promise. So here we have this rectangle. That was the one in our base, then the one on the top of the pile, and the one right after that. Small, medium, large. They all go in pocket 5 and 6. Then you have this tiny rectangle. We're gonna trim this horizontally, believe it or not, at 4 and 2. Let's make some little squares. 2 little squares going in pocket 3 and 4. This one, we're gonna cut that. I'm kidding, we're not gonna cut that. It's really, really little. Neither of these pieces are used. They're both gonna join their 2 other friends over here. And I'll take the next strip. This is 3 1/4 by 12. We'll cut at 11, 8 3/4, 6 1/2, and 4 1/4. Okay, so this larger rectangle goes in pocket 5 and 6. These 2 rectangles, 1 and 2. Another little rectangle going in 7 and 8. And my friends, I'm sorry to say, yet another scrap. Oh my goodness. Here we have some narrow strips. We'll pick them all up. I'll put the widest one in 7 and 8. Then these remaining are the same size. So 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8. Okay, not so bad. Time to cut some cut-aparts. Every time we print these, we print it on a slightly larger sheet. It's like 12 1/4 by 12 1/4. And it's your job to help us get the perfect 12 by 12. So if you look in the corner here, do you see that little black X marks the spot? That's your cutting guide for all the corners. So I'm gonna just place this in my trimmer here. It's a little big this way. And I'm gonna slice off an end. And I'm gonna be generous with my cut. And I'm gonna go back and fine tune this cut later. So I'm just cutting some of it off. And if we look again, you can see I removed it real close to that mark. Maybe you can see that, maybe you can't. I'm gonna rotate, and this time now, I should be able to see a little better. I can see both at the top and then down in my lower corner. That's off the camera, but you get the idea. I'm just able to see the stainless steel blade and where this meets it. Rotate again and trim off that little piece. Again. At this point, I can see that it's 12 inches over here. And then now remember, I have to neaten up that one, take a little hair off this last piece. And I can easily do that with my handy trimmer. And then these all go in the circular file. Let's turn it so that the words, "We got no troubles, life is bubbles under the sea," that should be on your right. And we'll cut at 10 3/4, 10, 9 1/4, 6 1/2, and 3 1/2. Okay, this gigantic piece goes in pocket 1 and 2. This next one we're going to cut horizontally. The little components on the right here we'll cut at 8 and 4 1/2. The whale goes in 5 and 6. Live in the sunshine, 7 and 8. And now we got some little cuts to make. I'm just going to roughly separate the different elements on this cut apart. We got a starfish, a shell. Honestly, I was going to ask Jacqueline. I wasn't really sure what this was. I'm sure someone knows what I didn't use it. I didn't know what it was. Okay, so the shell, 3 and 4. The 2 little bubbles, 7 and 8. And the starfish, 5 and 6. Okay, now this guy, we're going to place in, let's see, 7 1/2 inches. This one goes in pocket 3 and 4, and this goes in pocket 1 and 2. Here we have 2 pieces the same, but one in 3 and 4, and the other in 7 and 8. And then we've got this guy. He's going to land in 7 and 8. Guess what? One more sheet we have to trim, and it's the same process required. So line up those little guides and remove the outer perimeter until you got a perfect 12 by 12 like we did before. With that done, we'll take this jellyfish border strip here and make sure it's on the right, and let's cut at 10 3/4 and 9 1/2, 7 1/2, and 4 1/2. Rotate. We'll cut at 9 and 6 1/2. Now, if you'd like, you can turn this into a tag right now by eyeballing it. What I usually do is close one eye and I check to see where that blade is gonna land, and I just turn until I'm happy with the margin. And I'll do the same on the other corner. Take off those triangles, and then you got 3 and 4. So it's really easy. And if you want, you can take the little triangular pieces and get rid of them. And then you've got Let's Get Salty landing in 1 and 2, and one more little tag to clean up here. So easy, right? You get that nice tag shape in 2 seconds, and this goes in pocket 7 and 8. Get rid of those triangles. The next strip will cut at 9, and this piece goes in pocket 5 and 6. You have the smaller pieces, however, and I'm going to separate those. So we've got a circle, a circle, a circle, and a turtle. So the shell that's shaped like this goes in 1 and 2. The nautilus, 5 and 6. The starfish, 7 and 8. And the turtle, 3 and 4. The next strip we'll cut into equal pieces by trimming on all the numbers divisible by 3. So that's 9, 6, and 3. Okay, 1 and 2. The Eurostar and 1 journaling prompt goes in pocket 1 and 2. And then we have the other journaling prompt in 5 and 6. And then the horizontal journaling prompt in 7 and 8. And then with the 2 remaining strips, let's see, this one goes in 3 and 4. And then the jellyfish strip goes in 5 and 6. That's all the trimming we need to do. So I can get rid of my trimmer, and just make sure that you're careful with how you handle your accordion pocket file. If it's on the edge of a table, just be aware that your trimmer has been holding it up and you want to lay it on its back. Now for our final preparation, I'm going to take this whale print and I'm going to tear it. And I know I've been in classes where I've had people do this and there's a lot of hesitation, but basically I'm right-handed. So I'm going to position the print like this, the whale on the left, and I'm seeing this line of artwork right here. That's the line I'm going to tear along. So I'm just going to grab the paper and I'm going to pull the right side of the paper toward me. In this case, I'm tearing with the grain, so it's tearing really nicely. There, and that wasn't rocket science. So now do you see how the white is all exposed on this side of the sheet? There is no white here. I want the white. So I'm going to just, once again, grab an edge then and tear away enough of this paper so that I can keep some of the white on this side as well. So this will be a scrap. And now I have 2 torn pieces, both with white exposed edges, and they're both used in layout 1 and 2. So I'm just gonna place these in the pocket 1 and 2 for now. And next we're gonna do what I call the dry phase of assembly. Dry just simply means no adhesive will be used at this time. We're just gonna double check to make sure we have all the pieces filed into the right pockets. We know what pages they're gonna live on, and I'll give you some finishing tips along the way. You, independently of me, will be able to assemble this very successfully. Now we're gonna start out with layouts 7 and 8 and work our way all the way to layout 1, so that at the end, layout 1 will be on top and all the pieces that belong on it will be there, and you can adhere things from top down, from 1 to 8. For now, I'm going to take the entire stack of the remaining sorted papers and place them to the left of the center of my workspace and slide the top sheet over. And if I look at layouts 7 and 8 in my instructions, I can see that this sea green is the base for these papers. Next, take your accordion pocket file and then find pocket 7 and 8. And I gotta tell you, it can be a little tempting to empty pocket 1 and 2, and then you'll be really confused. So don't do that. Don't be like me. I think this is a scrap from a previous project, the cards, as a matter of fact. So I'm just gonna set that aside. And I'm going to consult the picture for my assembly. And you will also notice that I'm holding everything from the pocket in my left hand. If you're right-handed, hold it with your right hand. And imagine you're trying to duplicate what it would feel like if you were dealing cards. You never deal cards from the tabletop, picking up each one individually. You deal them out of your hand. So this is the most, in my opinion, the most efficient way to do it. Otherwise, just do it the way you like to do it. I'm just giving you my tips, that's all. Okay, so this larger piece gets aligned with the left edge, the other narrow piece on the right edge. And then we have some nestables. So we have this wider dark blue strip, and it gets paired up with this title strip. We got no troubles, life is bubbles. So cute. I'm just gonna go ahead and get rid of this white photo mat here, and then we should have a perfectly fitting. Look at that. Look at the fit. Yummy, yummy, yummy. And then just below this, I'm going to add a little metallic, just a touch of this metallic here underneath that. Frame it up nicely. Now on the right, more nesting. So we have this dark blue strip nested with that element. 2 vertical mats. Now remember, these are kind of a weird size, so when you finish your pages, I do have the size your photo would need to be to fit onto this perfectly, and it's 5 3/4 by 4. It's kind of a weird size, but you leave the height of the photo intact. Let's see, what else do we have here? The journaling prompt that we added to the file just now, it has a little dark blue nesting mate to have it pop off the page a little bit. And speaking of pop, we're going to pop it even more with one of these little starfish in the corner. Our tag here at the top, and we've got a sentiment here. I do think I rounded the corners. Now, if you have a corner chomper or a corner rounding punch, it just adds a little bit, I don't know. It looks kind of nice in that spot. Now I'm going to show you the technique of using the silver settings, and you're going to love this. So now I'm not using a punch for this. I'm using scissors because of the precise size that this little piece of artwork needs to be. It works best if you just do what you can with scissors to remove the circle from the cut apart. And if it's not perfect, you're never going to notice, I promise. Now I have a circle. Okay, silver setting. I'm going to take some of my bookbinding glue and I keep it in a needle tip applicator and just add a little bit of adhesive to the bottom of the setting and then add this. Now keeping in mind this is going to end up being vertical. You know, the loops here are going to be top and bottom. And do you see how it just fits down in there? It's almost like snaps into place. Then bookbinding glue again. I'm going to go around the perimeter of the piece, just a little swipe, just enough to give me a little double protection. You have a protective layer on your epoxy sticker, so be mindful of that. Remove the sticker and place it down into, and it should fit perfectly. Now you can still see some of the glue in there, but it will dry transparent. You won't even know it's there. We've included 2 full yards of the jute. That's what I'm using to loop around. So I cut a length loop around each end, and then that gets attached over here. So for best results, once I get some fiber attached on each end, add adhesive to the back and stick it where you want it, flip it over and tape your ends, okay? I'm not gonna do that, it takes a little putsy for what I wanna do now. I'm just gonna show you those finished pages. So here we have layout number 8. And you can see the addition of the Petersham style. That's that deep grosgrain texture of ribbon. I added a full strip along the edge of the border. And then I punched a hole in the top of the tag. I'll show you this one real quick. I love this. I love how easy this is. So here I have my hole punch, and I'm gonna grab a hole, okay? Then take some of the Petersham, and I'm going to cut a really small little piece and thread it through that hole. Loop it around to the back and tape it, so I don't have to think about that anymore. Okay, step 1. Then take another piece. I always like to look at the grain and make my loop with the grain, and I'm going to take a little piece and tie a slight knot, and then I'll trim the ends at an angle, and you can use a glue line or whatever you want and just glue it to the tag. That's all there is to it. That's all I did. And then line this up with the ribbon that you've added to the page, and it looks like it's all one unit, but it's really separate pieces. You'll notice too, do you see how this is kind of coming up? I have that prepared so I can easily put my photo here and have it be overlapping. Just keep that in mind when you're overlapping pieces. I would still adhere everything down as much as you can, rather than say, oh, I'm just gonna wait till my picture is here and then I'll put it down. I think it's always just gonna work best if you just get it all adhered. I promise you it'll work out beautifully with whatever pictures you bring to the table. Okay, then here's layout 7. Oh yes, I had those little bubbles. I just cut them into circles, and I added some of the acrylic, the clear acrylic that was included in last year's rainy day collection. So if you happen to have this, it just kind of adds a little sheen to those pieces. So keep that in mind, and then look how cool this is. I mounted it onto the page with foam adhesive circles to give it a little bit of dimension as well, but you can't see the glue or anything on there. I think that looks pretty awesome. Okay, that was 7 and 8. Now I'm going to slide things over. Just that sheet, that top sheet, the base for layout 7, and then take one more. And looks like I need to rotate Mr. Whale here. And if I look, here is page 5 and 6 in my instructions, and that's the base for 5 and the base for 6. Okay, let's see what's in pocket 5 and 6 here. Take everything out, put it in the palm of your non-dominant hand, and let's do some dealing. Okay, so I've got a vertical mat here. Make sure your mats aren't stuck together, and 2 horizontals kind of at the bottom here. That was easy. That's all that goes on the right. Now we've got all these squares, all these little blue rectangles we're going to arrange. So I have one that's kind of larger and one that's a little skinnier. Then I have this little whale sentiment and a journaling prompt. And then down on the bottom, I have two pieces that are the same size. Now, if I properly marginalize all of this, have proper margins. Notice how everything fits like a puzzle. And then I can take the border strip here with the jellyfish. And then this piece. Now you can tell there's something on there, but it's not paper. This stunning ribbon here, this metallic aqua, I'm gonna nest that right onto that strip and lay this on top. And I do believe I rounded some corners. I don't know, some of you might say, Tricia, you're a little corner roundy happy. I think that's silly. Why do you do that? But I just like the look of it. Here we used one of the silver settings with the Nautilus shell right here. So I'm just gonna place that there for now. And then I cut this apart, just fussy cut it in a matter of seconds probably. Finished page tips here. You can see, again, I just used the jute to give the appearance of having it be tied into place, but really it's adhered right there as well. And then bookbinding glue, get this onto the uneven surfaces here. Look at the ribbon going across the center, so pretty. Finally, I added some jute to the top of the stingray charm and added him right here. Other than that, it's just pretty straightforward. Now I did some fun with craft knife over here. So the two light blue or aqua photo mats get attached directly to the page. Nothing done. I could have maybe added a little turtle face to that one. But I wanted to keep some of this art in the foreground. I just didn't even have the heart to cover up this whale at all. So on the original paper, what I did was adhered the two horizontal mats, and then I figured out where I wanted this. Once you do that, you can take a pencil and I mark here, 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 and I even had some marks around these other elements at the bottom. And that mark indicates where the photo mat will permanently live. So once I remove it, I take a craft knife and I cut to the mark in each situation so that I can slide the mat behind the artwork as I did here. So my mark was here, so that's where I started cutting and around that leaf, and I stopped right there. Same here and around the fin. You can even still see my mark on the paper. I'm not sure if you can see that or not, my pencil mark. But it's cut around there. Now, if you look from the back, I did tape this down. I know Karen uses washi tape for taping things down. I think that's a really good idea. Either way, if you have these exposed things in the back, sometimes it's a good idea to tape them down so they don't get caught as you're sliding them in and out of your page protector. And then nothing is adhered here. I can still slide my picture in, and there still will be plenty of room for what the picture is of. And it's gonna be fabulous. Nothing else on this page, literally just the paper is shining, and boy, shine it does indeed. Okay, now I'm gonna take the base of just this page, slide it over, and the octopus is gonna make its appearance on the right. I'm going to turn to pages 3 and 4, and that is what we see there. So I'm going to grab everything out of pocket 3 and 4. Okay, let's see here. All kinds of fun things going on. Across the top, on the right side, because there's not a lot of artwork here in this area, which is kind of handy because I hate covering it up. It's so beautiful. I'm going to line up 3 squares. And just as a note, when I'm adhering those squares, I use my grid ruler. I always put it on the other edge, so the 0 is in the center at the top here. And my little secret number there is 3/16 of an inch between all the pieces, and from the edge will be perfect. If you don't care, just, do your best. Okay, now below that, I'm gonna take a deep blue strip here, and there should be a border that I can line up on that. Nice. Okay, how about a horizontal sea green, and then this bad boy, this big giant tag here, journaling prompt. You can add your little puffy and the octopus charm here, kind of cute. On the left, we're going to do this sea turtleology Turtleology. It's a made-up word. And then we've got a vertical and another vertical with a nesting mat here. Again, when you're overlapping, just watch where you place your adhesive so you can still stick a photo. Across the bottom, we're going to take this wider metallic strip, nest it, and then we're going to do a nice row of squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 squares will fit perfectly across the bottom. 2 of them get an extra mat, and one will get the shell and the other one gets the turtle once you fussy cut that. So it's super easy. I'm adding a sand dollar charm over here. I think that's about it. Let's take a look at our finished page on this one. Double looped, double bow. And then I did my little loop trick. So this is one piece of ribbon. This is the other. I have a few other ribbon videos where I've shown how to make this double bow or just make any kind of whatever bow you like. This is glued on with bookbinding glue, as well as the starfish, the puffy starfish. Left side, pretty straightforward. I just fussy cut the turtle and shell, added them to the blue mats, and tied some jute on top of the charm, added it with some, in this case, foam adhesive. I just used a small piece that I cut off of a larger. It also works to just glue it directly. I did that with the other one because you get 2 of those. And that would be layouts 3 and 4. I can't believe it. We're already landing on 1 and 2. So I'll slide and slide and empty. So we have our last pocket, our last everything. And you can see now by working backwards, it brings us to layout 1. If something had gotten misfiled, it's easy to figure out where it goes because you kind of see it coming. It's just a nice little technique. So across the top, I'm going to put my Mr. Whale. Oof, I just love him. He's so cool. This is going to go along the right edge, so it kind of balances out in a nice way. Across the bottom, I'll add a whale of a good time. I have a little bit of margin here, maybe 1/4 of an inch from the edge. This mat, I tucked it under the torn edge to allow it to shine, and I did the same thing with the other 2 mats here. I just allowed it to go under. It doesn't cover it very much, but it just kind of, I don't know, accents it a little bit. This is going to go vertically here in the left corner. Let's get salty. Fits right there. And then you have 2 vertical blue pieces that will nest with this. And then you can take 1 little gold. This marries up with the shell and goes across the entire page here with the jute. Let's take a look. Here we have layout 2 with our, this is attached with foam adhesive and this with the glue. Make sure you put a little weight on there. Use your bookbinding glue and then put something heavier on it so it does make good contact. Little loops of ribbon above before I add them to the layout. And then this runs all the way across with the ends taped at the back again. Helps to glue this down so it's not floating around. And then layout number 1, pretty straightforward, another ribbon loop to complement what's happening on the other page. And then our last little sand dollar charm added. Very, very simple. Again, keeping the adhesive away from under here so I can just slide my picture in easily in both situations there. And there you have it. I mean, I can't tell you how much I love this collection. If you like the Under the Sea kit, you want to make some cards, I have another class. We're making 3 of these cool waterfall cards. We make 4 of those, 4 A2s, and then 4 of these tri-fold cards. So 12 cards you can make in the same theme, and we use the same type of assembly technique. We trim, we file, and then we assemble. Really fun. If you like stamping, just keep in mind too, we have stamps that match our kits. And we also have these pops. These are called pops, short for pack of panels. It's a 1/2 pound of the coordinating papers in the collection, so you can use them liberally for card making, die cutting, other kinds of projects, matting photos, and so on. So Under the Sea has a lot to offer. Clip Scrap has a lot to offer. If you're not yet a member, I invite you to join us. Give it a try. I would love to have the opportunity to earn your loyalty with a Club Scrap membership. Can't wait to see you right back here again next month.